Ever since Trump won the 2024 election, the broader right-wing coalition that had been built up in cultural spaces has been descending into sectarianism. Two big examples of this phenomenon are the Goonergate thing, where religious traditionalists are rejecting sexual content in video games or anime, burning bridges with their anti-censorship, anti-woke allies in the process, and James Lindsay's observation of the woke right, the revolutionary right, have adopted various tactics from the revolutionary left. Both of these topics are worth discussing in depth, and I'll do so soon. That video is something like 2/3 complete. But I'm taking a short detour to talk about another far less serious example of the online right splintering into various factions. The gateway into today's topic is the Wifejak meme. Just so we're clear, we all know who Wojak is, right? Otherwise known as Feels Guy. Wojak is Polish for soldier or fighter, and was first posted on VChan in December of 2009. His facial expression is best described as suffering but dealing with it. Like his pain isn't sharp and immediate, but a dull ache that has lingered for years. The meme migrated over to 4chan by 2011, paired with the captions, "That feel when," or "I know that feel." Wojak is about as popular as Pepe the Frog, and they're often paired together in various memes. There's been a whole bunch of Wojak alternates over the years. The Coomer, the Doomer, the NPC, which I've talked about in the past, the Soyjack, the Trad Wife, the E-Girl. Each of these represent a specific millennial, and to a lesser extent, a Gen Z archetype. And this list is by no means exhaustive. I know there's a ton I'm not talking about, but this video isn't the history of Wojak. The most recent iteration of the meme is the Wifejak, a moderately attractive woman with long red hair. Wearing an oversized gray sweater that covers much of her form, Wifejak is meant to embody the thoughts and habits of your stereotypical millennial wife, a married woman in her late 20s or her 30s, specifically during this time period, the 2020s. It was originally made as somebody's Wojak self-portrait, posted to r/Wojak drawings back in 2022. And afterward, it was occasionally reposted on Twitter here or there, before blowing up in the past month or two. For example, here's some early common uses of the meme. "Where are we going this weekend? I just threw 30 cardboard boxes into the garage. You were supposed to turn off there. You should buy me flowers, but not right now. It has to be your idea. I noticed your pillow was old and gross, so I threw it out and got you a new one. It's memory foam." This isn't a mean-spirited view of a wife, far from it, but it's also not entirely fully positive either. Wifejak is soft and feminine, but she's also somewhat oblivious of her husband. There's genuine love here, but also maybe just a drop of her taking him for granted, or not fully understanding him. It's not a malicious meme or anything, it's just poking fun at some of the comfortable roles your average straight couple might fall into in the current era. Believe it or not, Wifejak started a culture war in online right-wing spaces. You had more traditional family values types who were claiming that Wifejak was wholesome. She may be slightly annoying on occasion, but she's ultimately endearing. She represents the little things that make up the majority of a daily married life, like hogging the blankets in the middle of the night, or scrolling on her phone during a movie and then asking you to rewind it because she missed something. The Trads said that Wifejak was poking fun at these things, but it's overall a positive meme. And in real life, it's actually a good thing if a husband is in love with his wife and willing to tolerate her rough edges, because let's be honest, she's tolerating his too. However, on the other side of this argument was an alliance of two more red pill-oriented right-wing groups. The Andrew Tate simps, the self-proclaimed high-value males who view women as inferior, and the Nick Fuentes simps, the groypers who believe that women are a corrupting influence, who need to be subjugated and barred from political life because of their tendency to make men soft.
Not sorry sent $100. That stupid Wifejak meme has turned Twitter into a total coal factory. Everyone is just outing themselves as little pussy whip bitches.
That's 100% true. Thank you for the big super chat. I've been seeing that meme, and it is absolutely pathetic. All these stupid bitch wife guys are using that to, like, post relatable husband content. "Oh, when your wife says this, oh, you know, hey guys, you know how your wife is like, hey bitch, take out the trash, and you're like, yes dear. It's like this meme."
The whole "your body, my choice" thing that I brought up last video, well, that came out of Nick Fuentes' community, and it began to circulate around the same time as Wifejak really took off. The two memes intersected in a very strange way, because they're both nominally right-wing memes, but the first represents a right wing that has a positive view of women, while the second represents a very negative view of women. Funnily enough, Fuentes actually threw a fit over What If Altists' take on it, where What If Altist simply said he enjoys the company of women, and Fuentes called him the strongest Wifejak enjoyer. In much the same vein, HYUK had a back and forth with some pretty large mega groyper account that frankly I don't know too much about. And I can't believe these guys are making me defend fucking HYUK because he's retarded most of the time. But here, he's actually correct. And it makes sense. HYUK, as a married man with kids, finds the Wifejak meme, or the McDonald's family meme from last year, to be wholesome, while the groyper thinks it's cringe and Reddit and soy. The left-wing account, Dreamleaf, who is also extremely fucking retarded in their own very different way, as somebody who's very much outside of the sphere, gave a pretty funny take on the whole thing. There is now a schism in the Nazi community about whether it's gay to be straight. I laugh because I get it, even though it's fucking dumb. Dreamleaf, being a leftoid, thinks that all manner of rightoids are Nazis, which we all know just isn't true. But nonetheless, this argument kinda cuts to the core of it in a weird way. The TradCon wifejack enjoyers are overwhelmingly men with wives and families. Sometimes it's the wives themselves. They see the particularities of their lives in these memes. They laugh because they know the feeling of, for example, someone's cold feet sneaking under your shirt while you're under a blanket on the couch watching a movie, or having to drive the car while the kids are being rambunctious in the back seat. These aren't fully positive experiences, but their lives would be worse off without them, and they know it. Wifejack represents the lived experience of the average heterosexual family man, and so it resonates with them. Meanwhile, the groypers are the men who hate women, the legitimate incels, the truly militant anti-feminists. These guys claim to support the patriarchy, but when it comes to fulfilling the patriarchy's ultimate goal, the creation of families and children, they turn away in disgust. For some of them, like Nick Fuentes himself, it's because he actually is gay, he's in the closet. And before you object, yes, he is. There is so much evidence at this point, from him going on dates with catboys, to him getting catfished on gay dating apps, the semen detection parties, all of it. When Destiny's sex tape dropped, it became internet lore that the other guy was actually Nick Fuentes. Not because it was ever proven, but because it was really funny considering how obviously closeted Fuentes is. There's also a few drops of strange religious pedophilia coming out of the groyper community too, though that's thankfully quite rare. But their position basically is, whether they'd say it or not, they're ultimately fearful of women. They never quite got over that feeling of being 9 years old and having a crush on a girl for the first time, and being utterly terrified of your own reactions, which felt like they were wholly out of your control. Their political activism revolves around two insecurities. One about their own potential homosexuality, and two about their inability to attract women. They've fully swallowed the red pill narrative about alpha males ruling the world and the apparently insidious nature of female biology, while nonetheless understanding that they are not the alpha at the top of the hierarchy, and so all of their actions stem from that shame. The Andrew Tate types, meanwhile, the so-called high-value men who claim to have multiple women in their harems or whatever, they're not as outwardly pathetic as the groypers, but they still don't represent a truly positive, healthy, conservative male sexuality. They view women as status symbols to be displayed, tools to be worked, resources to be exploited. I've already done videos on this channel about how Andrew Tate built up his stable of prostitutes by getting into relationships with them and exploiting their feelings until he had them under his control. You can make a pretty good case that he's less cowardly, more masculine than the groypers, but you cannot make the case that he is in any way a good man. Though Tate is an extreme example of what I'm talking about, there are others like him, most of them not nearly as successful as he is, but they all have the same disdain for women. And I'm not even coming at this from a feminist perspective, because I have seen too much fucking hate from the feminists towards men to ever be okay with them either. But I do understand that none of these perspectives will help you find a partner and have a happy, healthy, loving relationship. Not the incel groyper shit, not the alpha male shit, and hell, not the feminist shit either. This is just my personal opinion, but I think they all gained prominence among the rank and file believers as a coping mechanism to deal with their loneliness, their sense of failure for not being in a relationship. They probably initially intended to discard the coping mechanism after finally finding their special someone, until enough time had passed that they basically just became the mechanism itself. It's still really funny to watch Fuentes pray to Tate for salvation, though.
They just got done shilling Trump and whatever. And now they're doing the wife guy, girl dad thing. And I was thinking today, I'm thinking, would Donald Trump be a wife guy? Do you think he would ever call himself that? This whole scene that idolizes Trump, and I get it. I totally get it. And Trump is my hero as well. But this group that absolutely idolizes Trump and refuses even to criticize him when it's legitimate are now going to be posting this insufferable wife guy. I mean, it's basically a soft form of male feminism is what it is. These kind of silly, goofy guys. I really hate this stuff. I really hate this stuff. You know, girls say, I just want a guy that's gonna be goofy. And the guys say, our wives are our quirky best friends. She's silly and quirky and cute, and we love her for that. It's like, get the fuck out of here. What is that? Since when has this become not embarrassing? Andrew Tate, if you can hear us, please save us. Andrew Tate, if you can hear me, please save us. What happened? I thought we were on the right path. It was 2022 and I thought we were on the right path.
You had 7-year-olds in grade school coming up to each other and saying, oh, what color is your Bugatti? You know, you had 7-year-olds going up to girls and saying, shut up, bitch. And now you got people saying girl dad nationalism, I'm a wife guy, I love my wife.
Oh well, if you'd only gone through the transition, Nick, maybe you would have been into you then. The anti-wifejack camp basically views the pro-wifejacks as simps, who have been tamed by the longhouse, who have been pussy-whipped into doing whatever their wives want, while the pro-wifejacks view the anti-wifejacks as pathetic man-children who can't get girlfriends, and their entire political movement and focus of their activism revolves around the fact that they are the eternal losers in the dating game. And rather than improve themselves, they're blaming women or society or whatever else. I think there's at least a little bit of truth to both of these views, but it is without question that even described at their worst, most people would rather be in the pro-wifejack camp. After all, if there's one woman in the world for whom it's acceptable for a man to simp, surely it's his wife. There's a lot of blame to be thrown onto the feminists for the dissolution of a more restrictive sexual morality or traditional gender roles, some of which can be actually quite good depending on situation. It is very clear that a lot of people are not happy with hookup culture, or that when left alone, individuals do tend to gravitate more towards roles in their relationships that align at least in part with traditional views of their sex. These things aren't problematic if done with the consent of those involved, no matter how loudly progressives shriek about how feminism isn't about personal choice or whatever. However, we can also lay some of the blame at the feet of the anti-family, anti-relationship, anti-woman right wing as well. The people who reject both progressive sexual openness and conservative family values in favor of complete female domination. And I don't mean in some fetishy way. I mean in a they actually think women are subhuman way. In an almost Islamic way. I reject this for the same reasons I reject progressive morality with regards to gender roles. They're both entirely antithetical to Western culture. I'm reminded of the tale of the Wife of Bath, where a knight is brought before King Arthur for judgment. In some versions of the story, it's because he's raped a woman. In others, it's because there was a war or there was a political situation. The story changes here and there. Queen Guinevere intercedes and says the knight will be spared if he returns in a year with an answer to the question, what is it that women most desire? So the knight rides around and gets a bunch of answers. Fame, beauty, riches, sexual pleasure, freedom, but he has no idea which is the correct one. Eventually, and I'm really paraphrasing here, the knight meets an old, ugly, wise woman who has the answer, but he must grant her any favor in exchange for the information. Armed with the new knowledge, the knight returns to court and says that what women desire most is sovereignty over their husbands, which everyone who's present agrees on. As a result, the knight is freed. The old woman explains to Arthur's court that the favor she requested in exchange for the information is the knight's hand in marriage. The knight is horrified by her naked form in bed, but she claims she'll be loyal to him since no other man would ever want her. But upon request, she uses magic to appear to him as a young, beautiful woman. She tells the knight she can either be ugly in private and beautiful in public, granting him social status, or she can be beautiful in private and ugly in public, granting him sexual pleasure. The knight, having learned his lesson, tells her to decide for herself what she wants, and in return for his actions, the ugly woman is transformed into a wife who is beautiful and loyal in both public and private. The point of the story is that while men may be the ones with strength and power, they may hold honorable positions in society. They may be the builders, the fighters, the hunters, the movers and shakers of all things. It is a lifelong dedication to a partner that tempers them, that motivates them to act in a generative way, not a degenerative one. And part of that process means willfully subordinating yourself to a woman who is worthy of it. This is what the Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate types don't understand. And it's also why they'll probably never truly be happy. Oh, and to bring it back around, it also explains why they hate the wifejack meme too, while those men who are happy in their relationships find it endearing. To end this off, it's kind of like that cringe couples shit you might see floating around from time to time. Yeah, I get it. The longhouse, henpecked husbands, soy beta males who simp for women. I already know what the red pillars think. But tell me, would you rather be this guy or this guy? Who's got the happier life? Alright, my friends, that about does it for me. You want to watch another video? Naomi and I went to go see Wicked, and we shot a vlog on it over in the side channel. Click on the link on screen and check it out. I'll see you over there. Have a good one, guys. I love you.